Hey everyone, welcome to another installment from Pro Engineering. In this episode, we're let me clean that. I need to replace this. Anyway, we're gonna ignore that for now because we've got this box from FMS. And what is in this box? Well, something I've been wanting to get my hands on for a while, the Smasher version 2. Let's get this little guy out here. Let me just begin by saying I am not one who cares much for boxes. But I'd just like to point out that effectively what FMS has done here with this box is gone to the care and detail that Tamiya used to do in creating this absolutely magnificent box art. This looks fantastic. Oh, there's even the cutaway. I didn't even notice that actually. Got the cutaway for the portals. The body it just looks sensational, but it just gives this kind of look of excitement, of motion, of fun. And that's what an RC car should be. So this is based on the FCX24 chassis. This is same as the Dodge Power Wagon with different wheels and tires, of course. We have a 2-speed transmission, which is insanely cool for something of this. Hell, it's insanely cool for something a lot bigger, let alone of something of this size and caliber. Tune-up parts included. It has bearings. I did go ahead and get the blue one, although I thought I got the white one. Maybe I'm just on something. Okay, anyway. So a little side view here. Again, very Tamiya-esque packaging. Oh, interesting. Oh, it has a diff with locker parts included. That's very cool. So you can run with open diffs or locked diffs. If you have any questions, we have some stuff back here, some optional parts. What is a POM differential? Oh, that's plastic. POM is a type of plastic. A lot of optional goodies over here. Brass counterweights, motor heatsink, aluminum shocks. What? Wow, this is actually a lot bigger than I thought. Holy cow. I really wasn't expecting it to be this large. In a lot of the video, I honestly, this little Fiat back here, this is 1/24 scale. So I anticipated this being roughly the same size. Now, granted, well, okay, that kind of makes sense because that's probably how big the actual F-Series pickup would be in comparison to the Fiat. I just kind of had an idea that it was this size, and it's not. It's significantly bigger. It looks fantastic. The wheel arches are kind of cut out weird, but in reality, that's how the actual monster truck style of this vintage would be. Obviously, it's paying quite a heavy homage to Bigfoot. Can I say that without getting in trouble? I don't know. Tires are nice and squishy. I wish they were wider, but as you can tell, the issue with widening these is that they would come into contact with the hubs, and that's not going to work. Obviously, they're very proud of their portal axles, and that's going to give us a bit of a significantly higher ride height. And you can see if these didn't have portals, that they would have to significantly raise the truck in order to get the necessary height. Axle-mounted servo, which is really cool. Look at this beautiful servo saver. Spring-loaded, that's lovely. Oh, okay, I can see already how the body comes off. You squeeze these little tabs. Very Traxxas. Give you a little squeeze, that just pops straight off there. Again, it's hard to explain how large this vehicle is. I really was thinking it was a lot smaller. These body mounts are really holding it in there. Okay, cool. So we have I'm just gonna pull this off for now. Really nicely packaged receiver ESC combo. Our shift servo is right there. Here you've got your power dash motor antenna. This is for the battery. Where does the battery go? I would assume back here. Wait, is the battery in here? Oh, there's the battery. There's the battery. Okay, standard, that's pretty well packaged. Didn't even see that. Standard FMS battery. So you got your LiPo balance port there, your actual plug. This is where you're going to plug it into. Honestly, the vehicle feels just about as sprung as you'd want it. In terms of articulation, it's quite good. Power switch right here. Is it glued on? Oh no, it has a little slot right there. Usually I have a complaint about the FMS, Rock Hobby, and EasyRC power switch placement. This one here I think is quite good though. Yeah, I think with the body on, it'll be very, very nice. Let's see what else is in the package. Charging port. I guess these are going to be our spools. So that's our lock diff, which means, wow, to lock the diff, it's likely we're going to have to pull off these 4 screws, pull off the portals. We'll take a look at it in a moment. I do see some additional items in here. Tiny O-rings, some washers and shims. These are shock collars for preload. This does appear to be like an updated version of the radio that I like. It's not the same one. Their other variation has a number of dip switches up here for additional functionality. This truck likely doesn't need that, but this is just an outstanding radio. Don't let its size fool you. The texture on top, on the grip here, the overall fit and finish, the feel of the actual wheel, the throttle. This is a quality product. It's just small. And for me, it fits my hand pretty well. Now, I'm not the target demographic, likely, but for a child, this is going to be absolutely outstanding. And for the parent that undoubtedly pretended to buy this for their child, it'll be outstanding as well. So we'll put some batteries in that. These are water slide decals, which I think are fantastic. For a youngster, these might be a little bit difficult to install, but for an adult, this should give you a significantly nicer finish. In fact, once you install these on the body, you can actually run some microsol over it, which effectively renders these with 0 thickness. The matte finish of this vehicle is probably quite conducive to a clear coat. So quite a lot of little tidbits over here. I'm curious, this is actually a pretty meaty looking manual. Let's see what we've got in here. Basic information on the vehicle's size right here. Functionality on the radio, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. The earlier variation can be a little bit tougher because it has a lot more functionality. Decals for both versions. That's the USA 1 version. And of course, the keen observer will realize that the USA 1 is a General Motors product, not a Ford. A simple exploded diagram of the vehicle, which I think is pretty good. It's giving you at least the bulk of how to do some basic work on the vehicle. So these are beadlock wheels, very nice. Still not seeing what those other components are for. So to access the differential, what you're going to have to do here is, you see both halves of the diff. Well, the planetary assembly here, this part right there, slides over that collar, and that's what's going to keep them together once you pull the screws out of the halves. So these have to come off, at which point the gearbox sides will separate and you can put the spool in there. It even goes into detail in the transmission. Sorry, I don't mean to be boring here, but this is for an RTR. I've seen a lot of RTR kits that don't give you any information on the vehicle's potential setup. So this is here to remove the wheel nuts. Is there some rod? I guess you can put a stick or something through there to help you turn that. Kind of a cool thing, because I would imagine, yeah, this, well, whichever side it would use is too deep, so you're going to have to access that. There's no real way to use that too, unfortunately. Radio batteries are very straightforward. 4 AAAs. There is a small diagram, I believe, nowhere. Okay, it's just showing you positive and negative there. Okay, pop that shut. Go ahead and throw this back in here. Okay, so that's in. Okay, we'll turn the radio on. Car on. Turbo's got excellent torque. Okay, so that's second gear. So just note that this is a 3-position switch, but you've only got low, neutral, and high. I believe this center neutral position isn't intended. So there is your low speed, quite a bit faster than the Power Wagon is. So to turn the lights on, you just press the bind button. Really, really positive latching feel, I have to admit. A little bouncy, but again, I mean, why not? Why not have it be bouncy? Don't mind me, this had to happen. It has really good control. It did occur to me that I do have one small RC that I can compare this to, so that might kind of give you an idea of how big this is. Here is the Trailfinder 2 Mini, and this is kind of what I was expecting in terms of its size. Something about, you know, yay long, but we are talking about a 1/24th scale vehicle. This is probably closer to 1/22nd. So again, I do think it's roughly in scale. I mean, it's not, yeah, I would say it's... At this stage in the video, I do want to actually add oil to the shock absorber. So that's what we're going to do. We'll take the tire off. And again, it did come with that little tool you can use for this. I've just got my MIP drivers. All right. Okay. Let's not lose this roll pin over here. I'll pull a little nut off. We have 2 ball studs that are holding on the lower eyelet and the upper one. Pop these out here. Okay, that's one. The top one then should just, again, same thing, just kind of push it up a little bit and it'll pop right out. Here is our shock absorber. Go ahead and grab the body of it and remove the cap. Okay, we're going to want to remove the base of this as well. You'd likely want to use needle nose pliers that are either maybe covered in tape or something aluminum. Pull the spring off. We're going to push the shock shaft out. This is nothing more than a screw. That's all it is. Pull the bottom. Now the bottom, I have to pull the bottom out. I'm gonna get my needle nose pliers, apply just a little bit of grip to this. You don't want it too much, and I'm just gonna pull on the main body and it pops right off. You don't want to squish it or damage it, but that seems to be how that one comes off. Okay, so there we have it. So I'm gonna dump out the O-rings over here. Try not to lose any of them. Grab 2 of these O-rings. Make sure that it's seated in there. This is not particularly easy because they're tiny and they're the same color as the shock body. Okay, so there's 1 and 2. Okay, that's pretty good. Put that cap back on here and fingers crossed that it stays there. Okay, so I'm going to use some Tamiya damper oil. Ideally, you want to use something like 10 or 15. I think this is around there. Put a little bit on the shock shaft. You want to make sure that the oil coats the threads because you don't want to tear the O-ring as you push it through. So just push that in. All right, so that is in there. I'm not going to put all that much oil in here. Okay, that's 3 drops. I feel like filling the entire shock body here is a bad idea. I've got a few sets of shocks this small, and they end up requiring a hell of a lot of force, even with very, very thin shock oil. So I'm going to leave them roughly half full. You put the O-ring there, put the cap on top of the O-ring, and yeah, that's more than enough dampening. So we're going to do that and reassemble this. I just finished adding oil to the other 3 shocks, so now we've got all 4 oil-filled shocks, and it feels very nice. Cool. I need to drive this thing. Now to answer the question no one's ever asked, how well does the Smasher work at work? Cleared the mouse. Cleared the colleague's keyboard. Ooh. Random pile of crap has been covered. Sweet. Oh, come on, you can do it. There you go. Attempting to smash random cars. Oh, wow. We're gonna do an old-fashioned car crush over here. Now, I'm not a fan of these modern monster trucks that are all tube frame and go 300 miles an hour. I like old school, slow ass monster trucks. And that's what we're gonna do here. And let's go. God, let's just, oh, for Christ's sakes. There we go. Okay, that was a little bit consistent, so let's turn this around. Alrighty, and let's go. Come on, man, there you go. This is too fun. It's just great. All right, so I offset the cars a little bit so we can see some more of that suspension working. So cool. Now we have a ramp. We'll try it in second gear also, why not? Okay, that was kind of cool. Another attempt in second gear. And we'll try that one more time in slow motion. We're gonna give it a go again in slow because that's how I roll. This is great. This truck really surprised me. I had no idea that it was going to be this much fun. The build quality is really good. The functionality is really good. I love the detail on the body. And yes, I'm well aware that I've left the window sticker on. I'm giving this to my son for his birthday, and I want him to be the one to, you know, kind of unwrap it. We'll see how long that lasts because I do want to do some detail work to the body, modify the paint job a little bit, and perhaps a few other little goodies. So you will see this truck again pretty soon on the channel. But the real question is, do you want one? Yes. Yes, you do. I cannot imagine a scenario where someone would not want this thing. It is way more fun than I made it out to be. I'm kind of boring when it comes to the way I drive my car, so this thing is actually pretty quick. I've seen people do a lot of stunts and craziness with this thing here. The number of upgrades coming out for it is ridiculous. So I think that whether or not you want just a little toy to bring with you when you can't fit a big car in there, or whether or not you want to make a tiny little monster truck or a little rock crawler, this is going to be the way to do it. There's a link in the description if you want to get one. Thank you all so much for watching, and I got to go and keep driving this more.